This is the tutorial for Concept 15, Skill 14, which deals with prisms and pyramids. So basically what we're going to be looking at is naming the prisms and pyramids, and then also taking a look at some of the vocabulary that goes along with them. So at right here, this one right over here, is a prism. And the flat surfaces that make up the figure are polygons. And so you can see how we've got some flat surfaces on the top and the bottom and along the sides as well. And so these surfaces are called faces of the prism. So we've got the faces going around here. And the special type of face is the top and bottom, and those are called bases. And so the surfaces are faces of the prism. Each corner is called a vertex. So there's a vertex, here's a vertex, and this one's labeled. And vertices would end up being plural in this case. And so where the faces meet are called edges. So this is an edge here. These lines represent the edges. And then every prism has two faces that are parallel or congruent. And that's the key with prisms, is that we have to have congruent and parallel faces that are to one another. And these are called bases. And when we're talking about a prism, and we're trying to find the volume, we really need to know what the base is, because we're going to find that area and multiply it by the distance between the two bases to find that volume. So it's real important to know what that base is, and so that's why when we name a prism, we name it by its base. And so we know it's a prism because it has these flat surfaces, and it has a top and a bottom, which we call the bases, and it's got these faces that go around. Now notice the type of face that we have that go around. These are all rectangles, and you're going to see that with prisms. With all prisms, your faces going around the bases are going to end up being rectangles. And so when we name this, we name it a pentagonal, so pentagonal prism, because it's got 5 sides for the base. Where a pyramid is a little different than a prism, because a prism had 2 bases, where a pyramid only has 1. And so you can see that it has a point, and that point is just a vertex, but it has other vertices as well. It has some edges, but notice the faces are different. The faces are triangles. So a prism has the faces are rectangles, but on a triangular prism, or any kind of prism, or on a pyramid, our faces are going to be triangles. Now the base doesn't have to be a triangle. In this case it's a square base pyramid. So we name it the same way. We name it by its base. And the base of a pyramid could be different. It could have had a pentagonal pyramid if we wanted to. So let's take a look at this one. This was definitely a prism because it has 2 bases. So that's why they called it a prism. Now it's a hexagonal prism because it has 6 sides. So we have those 6 sides going around. And so that's why we're going to end up calling it a hexagonal. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then they ask us some questions about that. How does the number of edges compare with the number of sides of a base? Well, the edges go around. So we've got 6 edges going around the top. We've got 6 edges going around the bottom. So that makes 12. But then we have 6 edges that are connecting the top to the bottom. So that's why they said there's 18 edges. So again, each base has 6 sides, and that's why if we go ahead and multiply the 6 by 2, we get 12, but then another set of 6 going up and down. So let's take a look at some other examples here. And we are just telling what type of figure is shown. So remember, when we try to figure out the type of figure, we're going to name it by its base. So this is definitely a pyramid because it comes to a point, and now we're going to count up the number of sides. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So we call this one a hexagonal pyramid. So when we're naming its sides, you go by, or when you name the pyramid or prism, you go by how many sides are on the base. So this one is definitely a prism because we have 2 bases. So we've got a prism. Now we name it by its base. So you see how it has a triangular base. So we call this one a triangular prism. Now looking at this one, it's hard to tell because it's kind of going doesn't look as three-dimensional as the other ones do, but it is. And what we have here is this is the vertex down here. This is probably the base right here. And so this is a pyramid, and it's got a triangle as the base. So we call this one a triangular pyramid. So notice again that the pyramid, the faces are all going to be triangles for the pyramid. Same thing over here. But when we're dealing with a prism, the faces are all rectangles. But again, we always name a prism or pyramid by its base. So that's the type of problem you're going to end up seeing for Concept 15, Skill 14. Good luck.